good day. I think she's been down the plains, she's been here, just having a good time. And now she's with us here tonight. And this is going to be one of the most consequential elections that I've ever witnessed. And when you hear from her, you will see why. And to get us started, I'd like to call on Carver High School ROTC that will make the presentation of the colors. And the Pledge of Allegiance will be given by Ms. Joanna Beasley, the First Generation Scholars Program, Sisters Inc., and the National Anthem by Sandra Huntley. So in that order, presentation of the colors, Pledge Allegiance to the flag, and our national anthem.
May you all please join to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Join me in singing the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's don't sing the Pledge of Allegiance, let's just sing the national anthem.
Through the perilous night, for
You may be seated. Give a round of applause to ROTC, the Steve and Ms. Huntley. Give them a round of applause. Thank you. Boy, if you can see out there, it's great. This is Madam Chair. You and the committee have not done yourself. This is just a great evening. We're going to have a great time. We got a great candidate here, and we're looking forward to a great Democratic dinner. At this time, what we're going to do is don't follow the program because it has been revised. And I don't want y'all to say, but I hear that going in the wrong direction. But we have revised the program a little bit. And at this time, I want to call up Reverend Thaddeus Spencer, New Providence Baptist Church, who will bring our invocation.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, we welcome your presence here tonight. We thank you for this opportunity. Bless our purpose. You know why we're here. And Lord, while I'm here, I'll go in advance and bless the food. We thank you for that as well. This is in the mighty name of Jesus we pray. Amen. 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 Amen.
Now dinner will be served.
What is going on? I don't know what's happening.
They're sending them down to start the line.
Oh, okay. So I can stop this video.
Fired up? Let's go! All right, well, we're ready to go. We're going to start this program. And before I bring on the chair of the Muscoda County Democratic Party, I'd like to introduce the dais, and to my right and to your left, Reverend Willie Phillips, Congressman Sanford Bishop, Mayor Teresa Thomason, Democratic Party Chair Dubose Porter, and Muscoda County Chair Sandra Ellison. Give them a round of applause. Here for them. To my left and to your right, you've heard from Reverend Thaddeus Spencer, my Senator Ed Harbison, the Whip of the House, Representative Carolyn Hughley, and our special guest, Democratic nominee Stacey Abrams, the next governor. And I've been given a list of the elected officials that are here, and I hope I don't miss anyone. And then if you're running, later on, the chair of the Democratic Party of Georgia will ask you to come forward and whatever she's going to ask you to do. But I saw Tax Commissioner Lula Huff. Hold your applause until I get all of them standing. I saw Commissioner Huff here. Sheriff Donna Tompkins. Municipal Court Clerk Vivian Creighton Bishop. School Board Member Naomi Buckner. School Board Member Pat Hughley Green. Mayor Pro Tem Evelyn Pugh, City Councilor Bruce Huff, City Councilor Mimi Woodson, Superior Court Clerk Shasta Glover, and of course we got Ed Harbison, Carolyn Hughley, and Congressman Bishop and Mayor Tomlinson. So when you give our elected officials a round of applause, thank y'all very much for y'all being here. Good when we get all of our elected officials out. We appreciate that very, very much. And now to give a welcome, you all ought to give a warm round of applause to this young lady because she has been the person that been behind the scenes and her and the committee made this happen. So y'all give a warm welcome to the chair of the Muscogee County Democratic Party, my friend, Sandra Ellison.
Good evening, Democrats. All right. Everybody in here for Stacey Abrams? First of all, I want to thank all of you for your patience and understanding. We got overwhelmed with this. We started out going with 200 with the city room, and all of this has happened in the last few days. And we're just so happy to have all of you here. I want to say a special thanks to the committee at this time too. I know I'm gonna miss some names, but people like Tom McDaniel and his wife, Judy Boulet and all of them. I could give you about 10 names of people who have you all here. 10 people, give them a hand, wherever they are. And that's what we need in this committee. But again, I want to thank you. I want you to enjoy this evening. I don't have to say a whole lot, but if you read the book, you will see my welcome in there. And I also want you to look at page 23. Look at page 23. That's the message I'm sending to you and everybody else. We know where we got to go. We know how we got to get there. And you know you have friends who have been to the polls in years. You need to work on it. If you have not voted, we don't have very much of a conversation to have because you have not come to the table to vote. So please encourage people to vote. Preach Stacey Abrams everywhere you go. That's right. Just one little simple thing I want to say, and he would kill me if he knew I was kidding. I'm not going to call his name. But one of my neighbors saw me today and said, I want to give to Stacey Abrams. I want her to be governor. Who do I give the money to? Give it to me, she'll give it. So again, welcome, thank you, and have a good evening.
Come on, y'all, chair of the Democratic Party. Come on, let's go to council. Thank you. And now to bring greetings, we will have in this order, United States Congressman from the 2nd Congressional District, Sanford Bishop, State Senator Ed Harbison, District 15, Dubose Porter, Chair of the Georgia Democratic Party, Bobby Hughes, Chair of the 2nd Congressional District, and then Mayor Teresa Tomlinson, the Mayor of the big city of Columbus, Georgia. Congressman Bishop, just home from Washington. Let's give him a hand, y'all. Come on now.
Good evening. Good evening. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. We've got a room full of Democrats. Not a small room, but a big room full of Democrats. First, giving honor to God, who is the head of my life. Giving honor to the Speaker of my house, my wife, Municipal Court, City and Faith Bishop, to all of the distinguished guests at the dais, but most especially to our next governor, Stacey Abrams. It is a privilege and an honor and a real pleasure for me to bring greetings tonight, looking out into the faces of all of these Democrats. But I think that we have Democrats assembled here tonight, and Democrats assembling all over this country, because Democrats are leading the effort to turn this country around. And to turn this state around. We have had a lot of governors in this state, and many of them have been well prepared with their service in the legislature and other things that they have done. But none of the governors that have served before have been better prepared than this one. You are educated, Spelman College, LBJ School of Public Affairs, Yale Law School, practice law, tax lawyer, knows corporate law in and out. But a person that grew up like so many other people in America, who didn't have a silver spoon in her mouth, who came up the hard way, but who would not give up. And so we have somebody with great experience, with great preparation. And so I'm glad to greet you, because you get to see tonight what I have seen over and over and over again. And she didn't just start serving this state and the people of this state when she started running for office and when she started running for governor. Just 4 years ago, Stacey Abrams determined that there were so many people in this state who needed the services of our state government, but who were not participating in the process of electing the people to make those services and those policy values available. And so she took it upon herself to form an organization to go all across this state and register people to vote. People who had not been engaged, who had not been participating. And she did it. And guess who pushed back? Guess who tried to suppress those votes? It's the person who is running on the other ticket to be governor of this state. So I'm glad to see all of these Democrats here, but I want to tell you that the people in this room are not enough. We need every single person that you can influence and every single person that they can influence to get engaged and be involved. Politics is nothing more than who gets what, when, and how. And it's elected officials that make those decisions about how those resources are allocated. But it's voters who select those elected officials. And by God, we have got to do our dead level best between now and November 6th to make sure that we elect Democrats up and down the ticket so that we can turn the policies of this state around and so that we can make it work for everybody. This is not a paid commercial, but if you really want to know who Stacey Abrams is and what she's all about, this is a book, Minority Leader, How to Lead from the Outside and Make Real Change by Stacey Abrams. She's written a lot of other books, but this is one that tells you who she is and why we need her to lead this state. We can change this country if we change Georgia, if they change Florida, and many other states across this country. We need to take back the House of Representatives, and we can do it. We're going to do it. We need to hold the executive branch accountable, and we're going to do it. With your help and the help of the people that you are going to touch and are touching, we're going to make it happen, and so I greet you. In behalf of all of the 730,000 people in the 2nd Congressional District, and we welcome you, Stacey. We're glad you were in Plain, we're glad you were in Albany, we're glad you've been in Macon, and all of the other 29 counties in the 2nd Congressional District. And we know that you are visiting all 159 counties. You are leaving no area of this state untouched, in your request to get help to turn this state around, to make Georgia blue, and to serve all of us.
Good evening. I am just totally honored to be here today with my good friend Stacey Abrams. I gotta tell you that I feel a great spirit in this place today, a great energy for the person we call Stacey Abrams that is running for the highest elected office in the state of Georgia. I saw all the ladies and the young people gathering over here to take pictures with her and just crowd in and just be excited about her candidacy and just embrace her and just be for her, including my 94-year-old mother who said, boy, you better vote for that child. I said, yes, ma'am, I said, will. And she brings it up every day that we must vote for Stacey. I think she represents something really, really great. A renaissance of hope for people who've been downtrodden and left out by all the things that we've suffered in the last 10 years now can be corrected with the election of the lady sitting right here, Stacey Abrams. Don't we believe that, folks? We believe it. Just as we're crowding around her, we need to crowd out the polls and fight for her at the kitchen tables, but most of all, at the ballot box. Take your friend, take your mama, your cousin, your auntie, take everybody to the ballot with you and fight for Stacey and make sure she come out on top, because she represents the renaissance of hope and we be the Pied Piper of change in Georgia today. God bless you. Let's go for Stacey.
Good evening, Columbus, Muskogee Democrats.
Yeah.
First, let me thank the Chairman Emeritus of the Democratic Party of Georgia, Calvin Sparrow. But he is the Chairman Emeritus of the State Democratic Party, and through the years, I know people use this a lot, but he really is my brother by another Thank you, Calvin, for your guidance through the years. Sanford Bishop, great to be here with you. Vivian, always great to be with both of y'all. The conscience of the House Caucus, Carolyn Hughley over here, of course. Thank you so much. And Mayor, thank you for having us in your city, and Sheriff, thank you for keeping us all safe here. Thank all of you. Are you ready to turn Georgia blue? Are you ready to let State take the governor? Are you ready to let Shirley Bailey, Attorney General John Sanders? Y'all, we are fixing to make history in Georgia. And we're going to do it because we're going to vote like we've never voted before. Let me tell you what the state party is doing. You always love coming to Columbus. But let me tell you what we're doing. We have opened up 13 offices all over the state. We have hired 150 people in the field right now that are on the ground, that are going to knock on over 1.5 billion doors to turn the vote out like we've never before. But that's what it's going to take to elect Stacey Abrams. Now, we have a great opportunity. The nation is watching it. The state is watching. Are we going to go forward or we're going to go back? That's what's at stake here. That's what's on the table. So what are we going to do? Now, before, I'll come over here and say, take your mama, take your aunt, take your... I want you to get your first, second, and third cousin this time. We got to reach out like we've never reached before. If we're going to turn Georgia blue, we're going to have to turn Columbus, Muskogee dark blue. Okay? This is my message. This is why I drove over here tonight. Yes, a couple of said, we always vote Democratic over here. We're fine. But if we're going to turn the state blue, we need to turn Columbus, Muskogee dark blue, midnight blue. We need to turn out Democratic So grab that heritage that you have, grab this history that you have here of being Democratic, and let's take it dark blue, midnight blue, and turn the state blue by taking it just that dark, just that strong. And if we do, what's at stake? Then we can get the Medicaid expansion here in Georgia. And get health care to 500,000 more people. It can't be done, but it just did in Virginia with a Democratic governor and a Republican House. You want to fund education like it needs to be funded, give teachers the tools they need, then it's going to be with a Democratic government station. You want access to justice for everybody, it will only be done with Stacey Abrams as governor. And when you get your cousins and your relatives and your second and third cousins and everybody where you grew up to go vote, and when they start up there with Stacey Abrams, tell them to go all the way down the mountain. All the way down the mountain. And when we do that, if Columbus Muskogee turns dark midnight blue, Georgia will be blue, and we will elect Stacey Abrams governor. Thank you.
Good evening, Muskogee County Democrats. It is so good to see you out there. You are a beautiful sight indeed, and it is great to have the next governor of the state of Georgia, Stacey Abrams, in the House. I want to thank the band, Karen Thompson and Unique. Thank you so much. Give them a round of applause. You've done a tremendous job. She told me they put 5 more tables in here tonight because that's how badly you wanted to come and be be a part of this group. And let me tell you something. There's folks in here, I'm not sure they've ever been Democrats before. But we're glad to have you now, and I just say welcome to the party. You know, this is a huge choice. You've heard that we have the most qualified person running at the head of the Democratic ticket to be governor. We know that. We've heard her speak. We've been moved by her. We're turning out rooms like we've never turned out before. We're raising money. They asked us to have a fundraiser for Stacey Abrams. We raised 3 times the money that they asked us to raise. People can't wait to write checks for Stacey Abrams. So we know we've got it on our side. What's on the other side? And I'm going to be real with you for just a minute now, and this isn't the first time I've said it, so don't grab your seat and think I'm going off script, because I've said this everywhere people will listen. Stacey's running against a man who spent millions of dollars in weeks telling us he doesn't like brown people. Now you think, whoa, now Mayor, that's harsh now. But what he said was he doesn't like illegals. He's going to pick them up in his pickup truck and he's going to take them to the border. Let me remind you of something. He didn't say he was going to pick them up in his pickup truck and take them by the sheriff's office to check their papers, see if they were Americans or not. He didn't say he was going to pick them up in his pickup truck and take them by the courthouse to get a little bit of due process. He didn't say how he was going to discern whether or not they were illegal aliens or illegal immigrants. He said he was going to pick them up in his pickup truck and take them to the border. Because there is nothing American about that. That should turn your stomach and get you to the floor. It's serious times. And I'm sorry to be so specific, but folks, they're being specific. They're being specific about it. This is real. This is real. So let me tell you something. There is a blue wind blowing. I got a phone call this week, and I'm not going to shout out the name, but if I did, every person in this room would know who I was talking about. Local Tea Partier. Local Tea Partier ran for mayor once against me in 2010. We won't say anything. Local Tea Partier called me and he said, Teresa, I'm on my way to Statesboro to see my grandson. Stacey Abrams is going to win this race. And I said, all right, what makes you think so? He said, her signs are everywhere. He said, I can feel it, and I can see it. Stacey Abrams gonna win this race. Now, if a tea partier tells you that, you take it to the bank. If we turn out like we know we can, if we do our jobs, Stacey Abrams is gonna be the next governor of this state. You've already heard the challenge to vote. I know you can do that, and I know you're going to take folks with you. And you guys have been very generous tonight. You've been very generous to come here and support the Democratic Party, support Stacey Abrams. But I want you to know it's not over. It's going to be a long, hard road until November. And so every time you hear the other side say something dumb,
Yes.
every time you hear them say something offensive, something that shocks your conscience as an American and a Georgian, I want you to go to StaceyAbrams.com, and I want you to start at $25 and just climb your way on up as far as you can go.
Yes.
Every single time. Because it allows Stacey and her campaign to say this. Well, since they said that, we've had 400 donors online. That's worth gold. Do that for us, folks. Contribute and vote. Thank you so very much.
All right, let's hear it for Bishop, Harbison, Porter, and Thomason. Let's hear it for them. We appreciate it. And now to introduce our speaker, it's my pleasure and honor to introduce a person that we've all come to love and appreciate. And I've had the chance to sit near both of them and during the legislative session. And Carolyn Human has done a phenomenal job. And we're proud of her. She's our whip in the house, and she knows how to use it.
Yes.
She knows how to whip us in line, but she has become just a wonderful public servant and a true friend and supporter of Stacey Abrams. And so please welcome, introduce our special guest, State Representative Carolyn Human, the whip of the Georgia House of Representatives.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. They tell me we got a room full of Democrats. Is that true? Right. Now, before I get started, I was asked by Mr. Bobby Hughes to bring greetings on his behalf. He's our 2nd Congressional District Chair. He couldn't be here with us tonight, but he sent his very best. He sent his 91-year-old mom, and I want his mom to wave at me. Stand up and you. This is a multi-generational fight. We got to have Meatball all the way to Baby in order to win this one. You got to have everybody, and that's what it's going to take. But if Mr. Hughes were here tonight, he would want you to know that he's working as hard as he can all the way around this 2nd Congressional District, not only for Stacey Abrams, but for our congressmen and all of our Democratic candidates, and we appreciate him so very much. So tell him I said that. Now to my job. I have the pleasure of introducing a good friend of mine, and it looks like I've had some help here tonight in introducing her, but I'm going to tell you some things about her that's not in the bio. Because you know, I've had the opportunity to sit next to her. We are seatmates and we've been suite mates, and I've had a chance to look under the hood and kick the tires around. And I've seen her in good times and in bad. I've seen her when we were winning, and I've seen her in moments of defeat. And I want you all to know that she is the real deal. She's the real deal. Stacey Abrams is often the most brilliant person in the room. And it's not because she tells you that, it's when she opens her mouth and speaks to the issues of the day, everybody knows it. We just buried the Queen of Soul here recently, and when you know what she wanted, what? Respect. When Stacey Abrams comes into the room, she gets respect right off the bat, and that's what one of the reasons why she's the most prepared candidate that we've ever had running for mayor. I mean, for governor. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. I could tell you all about her going to Spelman. I could tell you about her degree from the LBJ School of Public Policy. I could tell you about her going to Yale. But what I want you to know is that she's the daughter of 2 Methodist ministers. And she was reared on the foundation of faith, family, education, and public service. She has a heart of service. Stacey Abrams always puts the people above the politics of the day, and she is not afraid to go to the other side of the aisle to bring forth the good public policy that we need for the people of this state. And that's what the next governor is going to be able to do for us. I'm so pleased to support Stacey Abrams because she is the kind of person who studies, she's always prepared, and I love to sit in my seat and watch Republicans go to the well and they look to see if she's going to ask them a question. And some of them will come by and say, don't ask me a question. Because when Stacey Abrams raised a question or when she raised her voice, it got people's attention. It's just like E.F. Hutton talking. Everybody listened, everybody paid attention. So that's the caliber of person that we have running for governor. She embodies excellence in everything she does. Stacey Abrams is an author, as you've been told, and you saw the Minority Little book, but she got some other books too. She has some suspense romance novels. I recommend Deception. Read that. And also, she is a business owner, and I've heard her talk about the economy and talk about her commitment to small business people, because she knows what it means to sign the front of the check and the back. It's one thing to sign the back, it's another thing to have to sign the front of the check, okay? So she understands what that means, and she understands how important it is for small businesses to have access to capital. And that's one of the things she wants to fight for small businesses, because she understands that small businesses are the ones that bring jobs each and every day to people all across our state, and we gotta support them. The other thing I want you to know is Stacey was an excellent minority leader, and she was also an excellent entrepreneur, and she has worked in the nonprofit space. As the congressman told you, she was responsible for the New Georgia Project, which registered over 200,000 people between 2014 and 2016. That is what we need in order to win this race. I could tiptoe on and on and on about why I'm so excited about Stacey Abrams, but I can tell you this. Stacey Abrams is about to walk into her destiny. She's about to walk into her destiny. God has put her in this place and brought her to this point, and he's not going to leave her now. He is not going to leave her now, but we need to do our part. We need to do our part. She's prepared, she's ready to go, and we need to do our part, and we need to make sure that we bring it home, not only for Stacey, but for all of us. Because the thing I like about Stacey is she has the audacity not only to believe in herself, but she believes in the people of Georgia. She believes that we can do more, we can go further, and she believes that government should work for the people. Government should work for the people. So tonight I want you all to give a warm Columbus welcome to the next governor of our great state, Stacey Abrams.
Chair Carolyn Hughley, my seatmate, my sweet mate, and my dear friend.
Yeah.
Congressman Bishop, thank you to Senator Harbison, thank you so much, Mayor Tomlinson, thank you to the pastors, but also join me not only in thanking the band for what they've done, but let's thank the folks who served us our meal and prepared. And to those of you who are observing Yom Kippur, I wish you deep atonement and reflection, so thank you.
Yes.
So yes, my name is Stacey Abrams, and I intend to be the next governor of the great state of Georgia. So in 2012, I spoke at this dinner, eventually. You see, I was in my second year as the Democratic leader in the House of Representatives, and my seatmate, Carolyn Hughley, had roped me into becoming the speaker for the Muskogee County Democrats for that year. And so I got in my car, because back then I got to drive myself around. And I had been outside the perimeter, I promise, but I took 75. And I was halfway to make it before I realized nothing looked like I thought it would. And so I called Carolyn, who did not answer the phone because she was here on the dais, and called again and again, finally called Debbie Buckner, and I'm like, where is Columbus? I keep driving, but I don't see any signs. She's like, Columbus is on 85, not 75. I was lost. And then I said, well, what highway can I take to just cut across? They're like, there is no such thing. So I drove back to Atlanta, and I drove back down the other way, and I eventually made it. And sometimes I think about that trip to Columbus being lost. It's easy to get lost sometimes. And having been to 158 of 159 counties, I can tell you I've been lost in a lot of places. I have fully funded the city of Ludowici. Amen. I've been to Camden County, I've been to Chatsworth, I've been to Taylor County, Colquitt County. I've been across the state of Georgia. I started traveling in 2011 and 2012 because I needed to understand the state of Georgia. It turns out I'm not the only one who's been lost for a while. Because we're a state that is a little bit lost. See, we are driving in the direction of prosperity, but unfortunately we left some folks out of the car. And a lot of times we're only heading in one direction and we aren't following the signs. Because we're a state that likes to tout how well we do for business, and that is true. And I give all credit to the leadership both before and after 2002. But the reality is that while we may be a great state to do business, we also have an 18.4% poverty rate in the state of Georgia. We may have 400 hospitals in this state, but we've got 79 counties without an OBGYN. We've got 64 counties that do not have a pediatrician. We've lost 30 labor and delivery rooms since 1994. We have the audacity to call ourselves a great state, and we have the highest maternal mortality rate in the nation. We are a state that is benefited by having all kinds of opportunity, but unfortunately, opportunity got lost on its way to most of Georgia. And so we've got the responsibility not only to acknowledge that we're lost, but now it is time for us to be found. Carolyn pointed out that I'm the daughter of not one but two ministers. And I was recently on a panel and they asked us, what song do you want to play on the night of your election? And one of my friends mentioned a hip-hop melody that I don't really know. But when it was my turn, it was easy for me. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. But now I'm found, was blind, and now I see. In Georgia, Democrats, we see you, and we are about to be found. That's the fact. We're going to find our way to prosperity because we know that you don't get there alone. I was down in Seminole County meeting with a principal, talking to her about the work that she's doing with those children, most of whom are on free and reduced lunch. And as we stood in the second grade hallway having the conversation, about the antiquated computers that apparently are the same computers running our elections, she looked at me and she said that she didn't know what she was going to do because they're asking her children to take their milestone test on those computers. These are children who don't have computers at home. And she said, when are they going to learn to practice when they can only practice at school when I'm supposed to be teaching them to learn? And she said, Ms. Abrams, I need leadership to understand why I'm not going to follow rules this year. Because I'm not putting my children through that. My job is to teach them, not to scare them. And while we talked about the challenges she faced, I was watching over her shoulder as two little kids, a little brown, little African-American child and a white child, were standing at the water fountain. They have water bottles because they conserve, they're practicing water conservation. And so one little boy was pushing the button while the other boy held the water bottle with both hands, and as the bottle filled to the top, they didn't have a conversation about one getting more water than the other. They just switched places so the second one could fill his bottle up. The thing of it is, in Georgia, for too long, it's been about filling my bottle and going home. But what these children understood is that they could both fill their bottles to the brim, and they could both succeed together. It just took a little bit of cooperation. I'm running for governor because I know that Georgia believes in the ethic of those two little boys. We believe that if we work together, we can prosper together. And that's what makes us Democrats, and that's what makes us Georgia. You see, no one got here alone. As the chairman likes to say, if you see a turtle sitting on a fence post, you know he didn't get there by himself. We know what success looks like, and we know how to get there because we spend an awful lot of time making sure other people don't get advantage of it. And that's why I'm the only candidate running for governor who plans to fully invest in our children from cradle to career in education. My life was saved by public education. I have two parents who are amazing people. My mother is one of 7 children, and she's the only one to have ever finished high school. She's the first one in her family to go to college. And she did so because a neighbor and a teacher saw her potential and said that we're going to make sure you make it all the way. My father is a dyslexic black man from South Mississippi who was told he was just stupid because they didn't understand learning differences. And my father became the first man in his family to ever go to college. And it was public education that got my parents through, and that's why I don't want to be the education governor of Georgia. That title has been bandied around by many. I intend to be the public education governor of the great state of Georgia. If you're the public education governor, your mission is not to siphon off $100 million a year to give it to private schools. When you're the public education governor, you don't vow to double it and make it $200 million. Instead, you say, I'm going to find the billions of dollars necessary to guarantee that every child in our state has a full quality education every single day, regardless of their gender. That's what the public education governor is. And the public education governor understands that you've got to invest in our children from the moment they arrive. And that's why I'm the only candidate with a plan for early childhood education, making sure that from 0 to 4, every child has access to learning. Because we know if they get left behind, then they never catch up. And we know that in Athens, Clark County, the home of UGA, 27% of the children there have access to early childhood learning. Only 27%. If you're in Brooks County, that looks like a dream because you've only got 7% coverage. And we've got to be a state that believes that the dreams of the children in Brooks County are just as valuable as the dreams of the children in Buckhead. That's what we can accomplish in this state of Georgia. And that also means that we educate not only from cradle all the way to career. That means creating 22,000 apprenticeships in the state of Georgia by 2022. That's what we're going to get done. And here's the thing of it. Apprenticeships aren't hard to do. They just take a little bit of ingenuity and a little bit of investment. And I know something about both. And those who tell you it can't be done, just look a little north to South Carolina. Because they've already got 17,000. We're way behind, but we need to catch up. And we're going to catch up and run ahead of them because we're going to get it done. That is the opportunity we have in the state of Georgia. We're going to make technical college free. It's $20 million extra a year. We can afford it because we can't afford not to. family of strong seasons and D's doing the best they can. And anybody who wants to work to go to college should be able to afford to go to college. And we're going to create need-based days in the state of Georgia for every student who's going to pursue their dreams. That's what it takes to be the cradle to grave. And when they tell you about school choice, what they're basically saying is you can choose to succeed or choose to fail because we aren't going to give you any other option. I'm the governor who says that we are going to make certain every child succeeds in our state, that they have boundless potential, and that potential will be met. That's why I'm running to be the next governor of the great state of Georgia. But when you go to the ballot to vote on this, remember to check the box for Oath of Thorn, because I need his help as school superintendent to get it done. We can educate our children from cradle to career, but we've got to make sure they're careers for our children. Carolyn was kind enough to point out that I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've started some companies that have failed. I've started more that have succeeded, and I can tell you that it is important that we bring big business to Georgia. And I'm proud of the success we've had. But Georgia is number 22 out of 25 top states when it comes to small businesses. There, we are at the bottom of the list. And we know that 44% of the private sector employment in Georgia happens through small businesses. Now, you will hear me and my opponent talking about small businesses, but only one of us plans to actually invest in small businesses. Because slogans don't create jobs. Slogans can't help you when you are going from bank to bank trying to get some capital so that you're a mechanic who owns your shop instead of leasing your shop. Slogans don't tell you where to get the capital to get the lease so you can expand your cafe. Or the woman who wants to start a home health care shop because she's tired of working for somebody else. She needs access to the same kind of capital opportunity as the big business is getting $50 million. I intend to make certain that we have 5,000 small businesses getting enough money to create 10 jobs each, because those are 50,000 jobs that will never leave Georgia. That's what leadership is about. Because when you hear things like deregulation and overregulation and classification and taxation, what they're saying is I don't have a plan and I don't plan to have a plan. But I will tell you that I don't only have a plan, I've written it down and posted it on my website. Because I know what it takes to make businesses succeed. Because I've had a small business that failed. Not because we didn't have a great idea, we had a wonderful idea. We were so good that a major grocery store wanted to buy a whole truckload of our product. But the problem was it was the Great Recession. And if you all remember, you guys in Columbus know better than most. The credit crunch between 2008 and 2011 destroyed many small businesses. And even those who wanted to lend couldn't figure out how to do it. And if you had a good idea then, you were in deep trouble. We had an invoice that was worth twice what we needed to borrow. And we went from bank to bank, and then we went to credit unions, then we went to factory companies, then we went under our mattresses, and we could not find the money. And like so many small businesses that have brilliant ideas but don't come from wealth, our business folded. We grew to death. My business partner and I sulked for about 2 months, and then we started a new company called Now Account. And now we buy those invoices from small businesses so they get the capital they need. That's what how we solve the problem. And as governor, what I want to do is take my knowledge, both my knowledge of failure and my knowledge of success, and create a fund for $10 million. $10 million so that that small business, they can't get the loan of $15,000 because that's too small a loan for a bank. I want to be the governor who says, we've got you. For the woman who wants to start a daycare center in South Macon, but doesn't believe that she can get access to the training or the capital, I want her to know, we've got you. Because their dreams will no longer be lost. When we're the governor, those dreams will be found and they will be made real. That's why we're running to be the next governor of Georgia. But you can have good economics. You can make sure that we have a thriving and diverse economy in all 159 counties, and that is my mission. But it doesn't matter if we do not have the right leadership to make certain that every Georgian is always found. And that is why my first responsibility, my first act as the next governor of Georgia, will be the expansion of Medicaid in the state of Georgia. Medicaid expansion sounds like wishful thinking, and that's what they wish you thought. But we know the truth. We know that Georgia has lost 7 rural hospitals since 2010. Not because we don't have access to money, but because Republican too cheap to take the money. That's the problem we have in Georgia. And we can solve that problem by replacing and repealing and replacing their leadership. That's how we win. That's our opportunity. Because right now, Georgia gives up $8 million a day. $8 million a day goes to Kentucky, goes to Indiana, goes to California, goes to Connecticut, goes to Maryland. These are not states that need our money. We need our money here. And yet, because we continue to refuse Medicaid, we've got 9 counties in the state of Georgia that do not have a single doctor. We have 51 counties that don't have a psychologist or a social worker. And we have people who are dying from strokes because it takes too long to get to a doctor. We have folks who just need a little metformin to control their diabetes, and instead they're on dialysis for the rest of their lives. Folks who just need a little bit of extra help managing that high blood pressure before it becomes open heart surgery. And the problem is we do not have a governor in the office or a candidate on the other side who believes that's our problem to solve. Because it's not enough to say we want innovation, because innovation has never saved a life. Doctors save lives. Nurses save lives. Hospitals save lives. And I've never seen the free market save anybody. I believe in capitalism, but I know that poor people get sick whether they can afford it or not. And therefore, we have to have a governor who doesn't tell us that you have to be able to build it before he will come. Because that's essentially what the argument is. Once you have jobs and economic development, then we'll bring you some doctors. Well, I'll tell you the truth. If you know anything about economic development, the doctor's got to be there first before the companies plan to come. That's not just math, that's reality, and that's my mission. Because I know that if we accept the $3 billion to which Georgia is entitled, we will create rural hospital clinics. I just spent this afternoon in Plains with President Jimmy Carter, looking at a miracle sitting right there in Plains. They've taken a medical clinic that's been there since the 1950s, and they've turned it into a state-of-the-art facility that will serve the footprint for 30 miles around. But the problem is we got 139 counties that need a Plains miracle. And there is only one candidate in this race who bothers to care about what that solution looks like. But it's not just the physical health that we can solve. If we expand Medicaid in the state of Georgia, we can create 56,000 jobs in the state of Georgia. That's more than Amazon. And those are 56,000 jobs where 60% of those jobs are outside of metropolitan Atlanta. Those are jobs in Plains, those are jobs in Columbus, those are jobs in Cuthbert, jobs in Randolph, jobs in Peach County and Taylor County, jobs down in Grady County. Those are jobs across the state that are good paying jobs. Those are jobs that save lives. But more importantly, those are jobs that create prosperity. And we can do the economic health of our state. We can improve the physical health of our state. But Medicaid expansion also improves the mental health and substance abuse of our state. And this is personal to me. I told you I'm the daughter of 2 ministers. I'm the second of 6 children. My first generation parents managed to produce in a single generation. My older sister Andrea, who's a cultural anthropologist and the VP of diversity at Center College. My sister Leslie, who's the first black woman to serve as a federal judge in the state of Georgia. My brother, oh, there are a lot of us, hold on. My brother Richard is a social worker who works with foster care children and homeless kids in Southwest Atlanta. My little sister Janine has a PhD in molecular systematics and evolutionary biology and is doing something for the CDC that will likely kill us all. But we also have a brother named Walter. Walter is a kind man. He is a brilliant man. Walter went to Morehouse College. But before Walter could complete his degree, his ambition was overridden by his addiction. My brother dropped out of college and began wandering in the wilderness for more than a decade. He's a young man who continues to be lost. But my brother found out when he went to prison the first time that it wasn't just that he had bad genes, because he's just like the rest of us. It wasn't that my parents didn't help him enough. It wasn't that he didn't have the willpower. Turns out my brother is bipolar. And that he likely presented when he was in high school. When he was 16 years old and started getting into fights and started having mood swings when they tried to pull him out of his college prep classes and put him in remedial courses because they thought he was just another bad black kid. My parents knew to keep him in college prep. They knew their child was smart enough to go to college. But like so many families, we didn't have the language to describe mental illness. And even if we could have, we didn't have the health insurance to pay for it. And so my brother went undiagnosed until he found himself in a prison in 2014. When Walter went to prison, he received there what we received in the state of Georgia, because in the state of Georgia, the #1 provider of mental health care is not our hospitals, it's our prison system. It was in prison that Walter was diagnosed for the first time. It was in prison he was given the medication that was missing in the 4 different rehabs we put him in. And for the first time, Walter was stable and he was sober, and he was such a good model prisoner, they let him out early. And when Walter got out, he was ready to be good. He was ready to rejoin community. But when you walked out of prison in Mississippi, like when you walk out of prison in Georgia, because he's an ex-offender, he is not entitled to health care. He can't qualify for Medicaid until we expand Medicaid in the state of Georgia. So Walter lost the very medication that made him stable. Well, they said, we'll get a job and you can get health insurance that way, but who's going to hire an ex-offender? Especially in a state where you have to check the box. And when Walter tried to find housing because he's not allowed to be around those who might destabilize his recovery, well, nobody will rent you an apartment when your last address was a state penitentiary. So Walter did like thousands of folks. He relapsed, he reoffended, and he was reincarcerated. And my brother goes through this cycle every few years because he cannot solve this himself. He needs a governor who believes in his redemption and honesty. That's why I'm people at this podium have said that tonight, but I'm going to say it in very plain language. In 2014, we all got excited. We got happy because we had 2 amazing candidates. We worked hard, we went around the state, and on election day, 945,000 Democrats stayed home. Michelle Nunn lost by 197,000 votes. Jason Carter lost by 200,000 votes. We don't lose in Georgia because there aren't enough of us. We lose in Georgia because we don't believe enough of us. But we're not going to have that problem this time. Because whatever mistakes were made before, we're not making them again. Because we're working hand in hand with Chairman Bose Porter. We have a coordinated campaign that will knock 1.5 million doors, and my campaign is going to add on another million, because we're going to touch every Democrat in the state of Georgia. Sarah Riggs Amico and Charlie Bailey and John Barrow. We're bringing Denise Lahr and Don Randolph and Lindy Miller. We are bringing Oda Thornton and Richard Keatley and Fred Swan. And we're going to bring Valerie Haskins and every congressman and every state senator and every state legislator and every school board member and every county commissioner and everyone it takes to turn Georgia around, because we will no longer be a state that is lost. We are about to be found. So we got to find ourselves. We got to work hard, and we got to work before. Because it's not just about health care. It's not just about criminal justice and education and economic development. It's about the soul of our state. And that's one place where me and my opponent agree. Because I believe we have a soul. And I believe our souls are looking for opportunity to lift others up. Those that have been unseen and unheard and who do not believe that we care about their voices. The reason I go from county to county, from door to door, from north to south, east to west, the reason I'm going to beg and borrow and plead for your support is because I know what's at stake. You may have heard a little bit about my personal debt. That's because I've lived a real life. I've had to take care of my parents and my niece and my grandmother. But I've never shirked my responsibilities, and I've never been sued for not paying my debts. But more than that, I've always made a way for other people. Because I know it's not about me. It's about making sure that we lift up the next generation like Patrick. It's about making a way so that we have people who come after us who know what success can look like. And it's about turning around those who've been a little confused, like the Tea Party and others. Because if they can see the light, so can we. I I was raised by parents who believed in the capacity of greatness, who did not let our circumstances tell us that we couldn't be better. My parents were working poor, but they didn't like that, so they called us the genteel poor. We watched PBS and we read books. Because they wanted us to know that economic poverty is not an excuse for spiritual poverty or moral poverty. As my dad liked to say, having nothing is never an excuse for doing nothing. And together in this time and in this election, we can not only be a beacon for Georgia, we can be a beacon for the South. And you know, if we change the South, we change America. When I was growing up in Mississippi, I like to say I am Mississippi raised and Georgia grown. When I was living in Mississippi, my mom was a librarian and my dad was a shipyard worker before they became permanently poor and became Methodist ministers. But back then, my mom would drive us around in the one car we had. My father would get a ride to work every morning. He would ride with Mr. Luther, who would pick up all the men in the neighborhood, because in Gulfport we didn't have public transit. And even worse, my dad's job was 40 miles away in the city of Pascagoula. And so my father would get a ride to work in this brown van that would take him off at 6 a.m. and bring him home at 6 p.m. But to make ends meet, my father would sometimes have to work 2 or 3 shifts in order to make sure that we had enough food on the table. When the lights got cut off and we had to make a little extra money to turn the electricity back on, or when the water got cut off, or when mom and dad couldn't make ends meet, they would work extra shifts. And one year, I remember my dad had been working over and over again, and it was Christmas time. And so it was cold and it was raining a lot on the Gulf of Mexico where we lived in Mississippi. And my father would go to work, and when he had to work an extra shift, he would call my mother and say, "Carolyn, I'm on my way," when he got ready to leave to come home. And the reason he called her is because my father was about to hitchhike 40 miles down the dark Mississippi highway. And if you've ever been to Mississippi, that is not the beginning of anybody's good story. And so he would call and say, "Carolyn, I'm on my way," and my mother would start to pray. And for those of you under the age of 40, he would call from these things called payphones at different points along the highway, so she would know that he was still doing okay. And he would walk and he would hitchhike and he would hitchhike and he would walk and he would make it home just in time to sleep for a few hours and then start it all over again. There was one winter when he called, there had been storms and accidents on the highway, and it was cold, and when my mother heard my father's voice, she just couldn't go back to sleep. So she came and woke up my older sister and me, and she said, "Go wake up your siblings, we're gonna go find your father." So groggy Andy and I woke up, and we went and woke everyone up. We got them in the car. We put them in the back. They all fell asleep, and Andrea took one window and I took the other, and we went driving down Highway 90 with my mom looking for my dad. Andrea sees him through the rain, through the window, and my mom pulls over on the side of Highway 90, and my dad gets in the car, and he is wet, and he's shivering. And my mother looks at him as he turns up the heat. She's like, "Robert, where is your coat?" And my dad looks at her and says, I gave it to a homeless man on the beach." And Andrea and I looked at each other because we're assuming my mother's about to put my father out of the car. Because in our family, you lose a sock, you need to have a ransom note. But my mother doesn't yell at him. She says, "Oh, okay." And she turns the car around, and Andrea and I are now deeply perplexed, because this is my father's only coat. There isn't another one waiting at home, and we don't know why this is okay. And she looks at me, and I look at her, and we whisper to each other like children do. And finally I said, "You're older, you asked." And so my sister leans forward, and she looks at my dad, and she says, "Daddy, why would you do that? Why would you give this man your only coat?" And my father turns around and he smiles at us. He's still shivering a little bit, but he looks at us with this look that tells us about being lost and being found. And he says, "Look, I came upon that man on the beach, and I gave him my coat because he was alone. And I knew when I left him there, he would still be alone. But I could give him my coat because I knew you were coming for me." Stony County Democrats, if we stand together on November 6th, we are coming for Georgia. Help us get there. Thank you so much.
Come on, Columbus. Come on, Columbus. Stacey Abrams for governor. Come on, come on. Fire it up. awesome? Isn't she awesome? She is awesome. Thank you very much, Stacey. We appreciate that very, very much. And now, welcome back the chair of the party, Sandra Ellison. Sandra?
I hate to have to follow this, but we got Stacey back, right? Hey, I would like to do that. We got Stacey back. Okay, at this time, I would like to make a special presentation to one of our young Democrats. This is the first year that the Muskogee County Democratic Committee has decided to look at our young Democrats and give some good credit where good credit is. Of the first Muskogee County Democratic Youth Leadership Award has really impressed me. I never talked with him a whole lot. I never talked with his mother a whole lot, but I have observed him. He's doing a lot at his age, politically, than I've ever seen a young person of that caliber do. He is so involved with the Democratic Party, and he's known statewide from what I can guess. I think all the politicians know him. And he works hard for these candidates. He's involved in voter registration, and I'm not going to try to read his bio. You have it in front of you in the book. But he, I believe he was president of the Columbus High Democratic Youth Group. And he's advanced up nationally, I believe. He's been, and like I said, I'm just impressed with what he does as far as being involved in the politics of our country. At this time, I would like for him to start coming up. Patrick Chappelle, where are you? Because he might end up in the White House. He knows what he's doing. So I present the 2018 Youth Leadership Award to Patrick Chappelle.
I just want to say thank you so much. It was an honor to get to hear from Stacey Abrams, our next governor of Georgia. The one thing I know as a young Georgian is looking back at Georgia's history, there are some things that we can't be proud of. But looking forward at the history Georgia will make, I am proud to say that I am a Georgia resident and that I will vote for Stacey Abrams' second term as governor of Georgia.
Y'all caught that, didn't you? Yeah, second term. Yeah. I tell you, we must continue to plant seeds for the trees, for the shade we may never see. And that's what it's all about, that young man. And give him another round of applause. And now for the presentation of the 2018 Jack T. Brinkley Senior Lifetime Service Award, the Mayor of the great city of Columbus, Mayor Teresa Donaldson. Mayor?
Calvin, what a great night, and what a great candidate we have. And Patrick, thank you for those inspiring words. We hear you. We hear you. We're going to do you proud. It is my great honor to present tonight 3 Jack Brinkley Jr. Lifetime Service Awards. Of course, former Congressman Brinkley couldn't be with us here tonight. He usually is right here, sitting up on the front row. But couldn't be with us, and so our thoughts are with him and his family this evening. As you all may know, Jack Brinkley is a distinguished statesman of Columbus and the state of Georgia, a man from Batesville, Georgia. He made Columbus his home. He graduated from Young Harris UGA Law School, was an Air Force pilot, and served almost 20 years in Congress as a proud Georgia Democrat. And so when we provide this Lifetime Service Award, it is in the spirit and the statesmanship of the great Jack Brinkley. Again, it is my honor. Yes, let's give him a round of applause. He's so generously supported this event through the years. The first recipient, I want to call forward Judy Brulette. Judy is a faithful, boisterous Democrat, a prolific writer of letters to the editor. She wears on her sleeve her love for democratic principles and good government policies. She's a graduate of Columbus High School and Shorter College in Rome, Georgia. She has a master's and a PhD in education from Troy University and taught language arts for decades. She is always giving back, helping folks get GEDs, tutoring those in the jail, volunteering at the Columbus Food Pantry. She's the recipient of the AKA Ernestine Mack Service to Mankind Award in 2014. She's an active member of the Muskogee County Retired Teachers Association, yet her proudest achievement is a 15-year pin for lifetime donations to the American Red Cross, giving the gift of life. Please, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to congratulate a humanitarian, an environmentalist, an animal rights advocate, and also a proud, proud Georgia Democrat, Judy Brulette.
It's not 15 years, it's 15 gallons. This is really one of the finest honors of my life. To be mentioned in the same sentence with Jack Brinkley, I admire him so much. He's such a fine gentleman, and to be connected in any way with him is just a wonderful honor. I'd like to thank the Democratic Party, the selection committee, especially my dear friend Juanita Booker, who is always supporting me and pushing me. Thank you so much.
All right. Yeah, that does make so much more sense. Thank you for that correction. I try. Next, I want to call forward Alonzo Whitaker. Alonzo is a warrior for justice. He is a native of Columbus, Georgia, a graduate of Jordan High School, Alabama State University, and Creighton University Law School in Omaha, Nebraska. In 1994, he answered the calling to the ministry and serves as the pastor of Rose Hill Memorial Baptist Church. He's Chief Assistant District Attorney with the Chattahoochee Circuit DA's office. He served as Environmental Court and Recorder's Court Judge from 2005 to 2009. He was the Columbus's Volunteer of the Year for the Urban League. He was Columbus NAACP Image Award winner. He's a member of the Interdenominational Ministry Alliance and is an invaluable servant leader to this community. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2018 Jack Brinkley Senior Lifetime Award winner, Alonzo Whitaker.
To God be the glory. Amen. It is humbling and rewarding to be a recipient named for such a great Georgia. We have a couple of quotes at Rose Hill, and one is, talk, don't care who does it. We also say we enter to worship, we depart to serve. We entered here tonight to hear Stacey Abrams. Let us depart to get her elected. God bless.
Thank you, Alonzo. All right, the next is one very, very special to me. I want to call forward Evelyn Mimi Woodson. As you all well know, I have the privilege of being the colleague of Mimi Woodson. She sits on our city council and is the strong presence and kind heart to my immediate right almost every single Tuesday. For 24 years, she's been a faithful representative of the people of Columbus and Sacramento. She has helped bring over $400 million to her district and has been instrumental in its renewal. She is the first Latino elected to council and is the longest serving Latino in the state of Georgia. And she's pushing it for the United States. We'll make that happen here soon. She's just been elected as one of the 50 most influential Latinos in Georgia. She works for Total Systems, which is one of our major economic catalysts in Columbus. She served in the U.S. Army for 15 years and is a strong supporter of military personnel and their families. She's an essential member of Columbus Against Drugs, South Columbus Revitalization, and HELLO, Hispanic Elected Officials Organization. She's the founder of our Tri-City Latino Festival, which has grown and is a tremendous event that we should all be so proud of. She's Davis Broadcasting's Woman of Excellence. She's won the Davis Broadcasting Woman of Excellence Award and the Panamanian Association of Columbus, Georgia Mother of the Year Award, and so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, another of our 2018 Jack Brinkley Senior Lifetime Service Award, Mimi Woodson.
First of all, I want to give honor to my God. I really believe that He puts me where He wants me at the time that He wants me to be. I want to dedicate this award to Him because He is the one that made the path for me. He is the one that has guided me to do the things for His children that He's wanted me to do. I thank the committee, and when I got the phone call, I was in shock, I was in tears. I said, me? Mimi? You sure you got the right person? I was very, very surprised. And I want to tell everyone here, please, if you believe in God and yourself, anything's possible. And I'm living testimony of that. And I say to you, and I say to Stacy, and to my wonderful congressman, my wonderful Representative Carolyn Hughley Calvin, and who's always been by my side, Vivian, and many of y'all, please continue the fight, the mission. It isn't over. Our people need us, and we must continue, not let people suppress us, but rejoice us and fight for what we believe in. God bless you.
One more hand for all of our honorees tonight. We're almost at the end of our program, but we cannot close out this program without all of the candidates who are running for office to come up front, give your name and the office you're running for. So any candidate or your appointee, come up.
Forte. I'm running for Clerk of Superior Court. And I would like to earn your support and earn your vote.
Hello, I'm Valerie Haskins, and I'm a candidate for State Senate District 29.
Good evening, Muskogee Democrats. I'm Chuck Inderland, and I'm the next congressman from Georgia's 3rd Congressional District. If you want to help me be Congressman Bishop's colleague, go to votechuck.us.
Evening, everybody. My name's Charlie Bailey, and it's my privilege and honor to be the Democratic nominee for Attorney General in the great state, my home state of Georgia. I'm a Harris County boy, so I'm going to claim home, and I'm going to let y'all go home now. Thank y'all very much.
Good evening. My name is Shasta Thomas Glover. I have been there 18 months. November the 6th, I would like to stay there, so I need your vote and your support. Thank you.
Well, the chairman said that's it. And since the only thing that can burn all day and shine all night is a light bulb, they blow out. So before we stay here all day and all night, we're going to leave. Has it been a great evening? Has it been a great evening? Fired up? Fired up? It's going to be a great year for Democrats. God blue. Come along, Brother Phillips, to give our benediction. Thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all on behalf of Sandra Ellison and the entire Democratic Party for such a great turnout. This has been a great day. Stacey's been here twice today for 3 events, down the plains and now back to Atlanta and to visit the only county she hadn't been in her run for governor. So thank y'all, keep her in your prayers, and we certainly appreciate y'all attendance tonight. It's been a great evening. Now the benediction.
Let us stand, please.
Heavenly Father, we come in the holy mighty name of Jesus to say thank you, oh God, for this program tonight and those that worked so hard to put it on. Thank you for our leadership over here, God, in the Democratic Party. And thank you, Father God, for Stacey Abrams. And thank you, oh God, for your mighty blessing. In Jesus' name we thank you.